Hi, welcome to this lesson. So, in this lesson, we're going to be looking at something called two-dimensional arrays. Okay, so far we only looked at one-dimensional array where you create something and it's just whatever is inside of the array is just a value. Okay, one value like that. Uh, that's one-dimensional. But as you probably guessed by the name, in two-dimensional that's not how it is. In two-dimensional, you can hold arrays within an array. Okay, so you can hold multiple arrays within an array. For example, instead of 3 in here, you can create another array like this. Okay, that's called two-dimensional. Okay, so that's a two-dimensional array. So let me show you how that works. So for this, we'll be declaring, this is actually two-dimensional as well, where everything else is just one value, one-dimensional value, but this is two-dimensional. This is an array within an array. Okay, so let's declare a variable just like we usually do, but while assigning values, we'll need to make some changes. Okay, so let's create a variable num values like this, and then let's create square brackets like this to denote that it's an array. Okay, but within the square bracket, as I told you before, if I just wrote it like this would be a 1D array, right? A one-dimensional array. But now let's write things down like this. Within this, in commas, if we do it like this. Okay. So now we have a main array which has 3 elements, but each of those elements are actually arrays as well. Okay. So now the array has 3 new arrays inside of it, and these arrays are separated by commas like this. So actually, if you look for num values of 0, num values is the entire array. So num values of 0 would actually be this array. Num values of 1 would actually be this array. And num values of 2 would be this array. Okay, not a value, but an array. Okay, so let's give these arrays values now. So inside of it, let's say 1, 2, 3, just random values. And inside of this, let's give 4, 5, 6 like this. And inside of this, let's say 7, 8, 9 like this. Okay, so this is a two-dimensional array. So if I do a console.log of num values, sorry about that, values e. Okay, look at that. At the first glance, I'm getting length 3. Okay, and each of that has an array which also has length 3. So this is an array with length 3. This is an array with length 3. The third element is also an array with length 3. But if I click on this arrow and if I go inside, I'd get that the 0 index, the first element is an array of length 3, and then and the values are 1, 2, 3. And the first index is also an array of length 3, 4, 5, 6. And the third element with an index 2 is also an array of length 3, 7, 8, 9 like this. Okay, so that's how that works. So that's your num values array. And if I give num values of 0 like that, what would I get? See, I'd get an array of length 3, 1, 2, 3. And if I give num values of 1 like that, what would I get? 4, 5, 6, the next one. Okay, and if I give num values of 2, what would I get? I'd get the last one like this. Okay, so that's what I'd get. Alright, so that's how you create a two-dimensional array, which is an array within an array. Okay, but how would you reference these values like you do with an 1D array? How would you do that? Okay, so how would I access this particular element? How would I access this particular element or this particular element? How would I do that? Okay, I do that by creating another square after this. So this is how I do it. Okay, the first square would indicate the element of the main array. Okay, so if I give 2 in here, that is 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. It indicates this particular array. But the next square would indicate the element within the element that was selected. Okay, so it will indicate these values. If I give 2, 0 in here, it would be in this particular element, it will be the 0th element. If I give 2, 1 in here, it will be in this particular element, it will be the 1th element. 2, 2 is this. So that's how it works. Okay, so the first index is the index of the parent array, okay, which is the num values array. And the second index right here is the index of the value in the child array that the parent array is referring to. Okay, in this case, the first child array is referring to the second, the element with the index 2. That is the third element like this. Okay, so if I give 2, 2, let me see what I get. See, I'm getting 9 because in 2, 0, 1, 2, this particular element. Okay, if I give, for example, 0, if I want to access this element, how would I access that? It has a main index of the first index of 1, right? 0, 1, and then this is also 0, 1. So I'd give 1, 1 like this, and if I refresh, see, I'm accessing 5 like that. So that's how your two-dimensional arrays work. It works pretty much similar to your array. You can assign values to it, you can add elements to it, you can push to this array as well. You can do everything. And also, it doesn't always have to have arrays inside of it. You can add normal elements in here as well, and you can access that normal element properly as well. If you give num values of 3 like this, you'd get hello. Okay, so you can do that as well, and you can also change the value. You can say num values of 1. You can assign an array to this. You can say 3, 6, 7 like this. And if you do a console.log of num values now, and if you open, I see now it's 3, 6, 7. Okay, you don't really have to assign your an array to something that had an array in it before. You can change it to something else as well. Hi, you can change it like that as well. And if I refresh, see, this is high and it's not an array anymore. So that's how it. Alright, so that's your two-dimensional array, and you can, I'm pretty sure you can process anything anything that you want. So I can say num values dot push, and inside of it I can give an array, new array like that. I can say 2, 7, 5, just random array. And if I do something like that, and if I open num arrays like this, see, I'm getting the last one added in here. And then I can also do a pop of num values dot pop, and I can assign it to another variable as well. Let a is equal to num values of pop, and a parenthesis like this. If I do it like this, and if I open a, if I get a, what do I get? See, I get the last element that I added, right? So you can do things like that, and you can also convert this into a string. You can convert none values into a string, and you can assign it to another variable like this. And if you do a console.log of str like this, what would you get? See, I'm getting everything. So what happens here is it just opens up everything. It'll just open up the entire thing. Okay, it'll open up the entire two-dimensional array into just one dimension. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it's going to give me a hello. So that's what's going to happen. So these things are not taken into account because we pushed something and we popped it out. So it's actually not taken into account at all. So only the original value, only the original array. So it wouldn't display it in a two-dimensional manner. It's just going to make it in one-dimensional thing and do it like that. And you can also do the join thing, and you can give a space like this, maybe if that's what you want. Okay, now that is where you see the difference. Do you see that? See, this is one element, right? So that element alone is separated by commas. Now this is and after that, since I gave the condition as a space, I'm getting a space after that. And then this is alone separated by a comma, and this is separated by a comma. But there's a space here. There's a space here. So within the main elements, there are spaces instead of commas, but inside of it is just commas. So if I give like this, maybe No, it doesn't work. So you can't really do things like that. So join only works best with your one-dimensional array. So that's it. If you gave something like this, then you'd probably see the difference better. See? So 1, 2, 3, this is separate. This is separate. This is separate. Hello is separate. Okay, so that's how your two-dimensional arrays work. So that's it for this particular lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.